The Fortnite Omniverse connects every universe in existence onto the 0 point. And this of course means that it does connect to the Marvel Universe. Now, the Marvel superheroes have been dragged into the world of Fortnite before, when Thor was trying to stop Galactus from consuming the 0 point. But that doesn't mean that the island of Fortnite was left alone. The island of Fortnite has been going through a crazy amount of its own lore, and in a final battle in which the Imagined Order is fighting against Foundation and his troops, they need to get the aid of the Marvel superheroes again. And that brings us to the Marvel Fortnite Zero War. This is the Comicstorian channel. I take comic books, I turn them into audio drama so that you can get caught up on your favorite storylines and know what's going on, or in this case, know how Marvel is linking back into Fortnite. So for today's full story, we're going to be covering Marvel Zero War, issues 1 through 5. Let's get into it. In Madripoor, Wolverine, under the guise of his alter ego Patch, grabs a drink in a dingy bar to try and get some time to himself. But his night is disturbed by the arrival of Spider-Man. Before Spider-Man could even ask anything, Wolverine already tells him, "No to whatever crap you're fixing to rope me into." Suddenly, another man appears and begins to order a drink, and then a woman after him. The woman turns and asks what is he staring at. Wolverine says, "The only reason I might even actually listen to Spider-Man's pitch. What's going on with you?" The woman introduces herself as the Imagined. This man beside her is Agent Jones. They are in need of his help. She believes that Spider-Man here can explain the situation. Spider-Man orders his Fresca and tells him, "Well, you might have heard how a chunk of Manhattan, including the Daily Bugle and even me, accidentally disappeared. Well, we didn't just go to a different universe, Wolverine. This was the place where every reality ever came from. The source of that really big bang is a ball of energy called the 0 point. For a long time, the 0 point's been controlled by this evil sciencey group known as the Imagined Order. They do evil sciencey stuff, snatch people from different realities, and they make them fight each other. One time they grabbed Thor, Iron Man, and even me. In any case, things are way worse now. The Imagined Order decided to plug the hole and start over, wipe out the island and everyone on it. Trying to stop them is a group called the Seven. Except there are really only 6 of them now? That's a whole other story. And our redhead here, well, she's one of the 7. Leading this group is a giant guy known as the Foundation. Think of him like if Tony Stark was Nick Fury in the body of the Hulk. Foundation has been leading the charge with a group of loopers, people who have been kidnapped but regained themselves and wanted to fight back. Inside the loop, if you die, you just come back to life and fight more. Outside of the loop, it's a little more permanent. And after another fruitless assault on a compound, the 7 began to formulate a plan, one that could finally let us be the ones to turn the tides. The lost 7 member, Paradigm, she switched sides and ended up building a giant mech to fight against a giant creature. She managed to defeat the monster, but shortly after rocketed into the sky to never be seen again. The remaining 7 learned that Paradigm ended up crash landing on the moon orbiting the island. But it's mostly just ice and more monsters. Very hostile environment with deadly chills and hurricane force winds. The 7 are kind of at a loss as to what to do, Wolverine. And that's when your pal Spider-Man offered to help. You see, if I could just get Thor, Storm, and a bunch of the heavy hitters, we could turn the battle into 7's favor. But there's also one more thing that I was tasked with. Galactus was among the many heroes who had been taken to this place, and of course he tried to devour the 0 point. Even though he was driven away, he dislodged a small fragment from it, and when Galactus was sent back to his reality, well, that fragment followed with him. During Paradigm's battle with the monster, it recharged the mecha, which grasped the 0 point itself. If we had that fragment, we could possibly recharge her mech in seconds instead of months. We did have a device that would allow us to jump from one reality to the next, and then back again, but it only has 2 charges left. So coming here and going back is going to leave us stranded there, especially with that many people I gotta bring back. Jones here used to work for the Imagined Order, and after their attack could lead us directly to the 0 point, which will allow us to travel a bit more freely back and forth between realities. But we were attacked just before we could use it by a woman known as Sloane and a man known as Gunner. The Foundation held their attacks back while Jones set the controls to allow them to come back safely. And once the portal opened, we all jumped through. All but Foundation. I've already informed the Avengers and we're putting together a team, but I'm staying here with Jones and the Imagined to find the fragment. Does any of this make sense to you, Logan? Agent Jones tells him, "Dude, I can't even follow what's going on, and I was there!" Anyway, Mr. Wolverine, to really understand this, we're gonna have to go back to the beginning of all creation. Imagined hangs herself on Wolverine's shoulder, asking, "It'll be the best fight you've ever had." And Wolverine slams his drink down. "I'm in, bub." Meanwhile, elsewhere, Doom watches the four from a cauldron, stating that the fools have been behaving as expected. "I shall attend to this matter with ease. There is no need to concern yourself any further, Geno." Through the comms, Geno tells him that his assistance is greatly appreciated. A very, very select few were admitted to the inner circle, but in all of the Omniverse, he was the easiest choice. Welcome. You are already a valued addition to the imagined order, Dr. Von Doom. As the Seven and the Avengers clash against the imagined order's base of operations, there's another fight brewing between who is actually leading the charge. The Foundation or Iron Man? Foundation tells Iron Man to stand down. He is the one who gives the orders here, but Iron Man tells him that the last time that he was on this island, things went pretty well. So why not go with the proven winner? Captain Marvel flies by them, telling them both, "How about I just go on ahead of both of you while you compare egos and find the objective?" Iron Man tells him, "Fine. How about we just become co-leaders? I'll be the commander of Earth's forces and you be the commander of the island forces. And afterwards we can share armor tips. Cool?" Seconds later, Captain Marvel sighs as she rockets back out of the base with one of the imagined order's ships, stating that she needs everyone to cover her retreat. Because, she wasn't arguing and she completed the mission. Obtaining a ship capable of going off-world was a major win for the heroes, as they needed it to get to the moon and recover a mech from when one of the former Seven's members crash-landed there. With the help of Storm and Thor to help keep the icy blizzard at bay, this was the heroes' only chance at turning the tide of battle with something that could easily overpower the imagined order. But while the Avengers have their mission in Reality Zero, back on Earth, Spider-Man and Wolverine have teamed up with the Imagined and Jonesy of Reality Zero in search of a shard of the Zero Point that is now on the Marvel Universe. However, as they reach the Wakandan border, they are not met with the friendliest of welcomes. Imagined says that she has had enough of this and lifts one of the giant mech panthers into the air to give Jonesy a clear shot with his grenade launcher. But as Jones takes aim, Spider-Man webs the launcher and pulls, telling him, "No! The pilots are just doing their jobs. There will be no killing." The grenade then launches, taking out a chunk of Wolverine. And then he asks, "Was that your idea of ruining the shot?" Spider-Man says that Jones is a crack shot. He should have hit him in the face. Besides, you heal in what, 10 minutes? And Wolverine yells back, "It still hurts, webhead!" And then a voice calls out telling the soldiers of Wakanda to stand down. Everyone turns to Shuri as she steps out, stating that she is welcoming of Spider-Man and Wolverine, as they are friends of the royal family, but the others are not. "State your business here or leave." Jonesy smiles. "You see, to really understand this, we're gonna have to go back to the beginning of all creation." Spider-Man interrupts him. "They're from another dimension, and it's a crisis, and there's fighting and dancing, and we're all gonna die." Shuri stares, and Wolverine chimes in. "Yeah, I can vouch for that. I'll explain everything. In words that make sense even." After getting the actual situation out of Wolverine, Shuri says, "That is interesting. But you think that this crystallized fragment of your Zero Point, the source of all realities, is in Wakanda?" The Imagined says that her armor traced its energy signature back to this location, but some kind of interference is keeping her from narrowing it down further. Shuri says that would most likely be their supply of vibranium. It's a metal unlike any other. As they reach the mines, the Imagined begins her scan again, stating that she is having a hard time. Wolverine tells her not to bother. It's not in here. She asks how would he know, and Wolverine tells her that he can smell it. Stands out like bacon, a scent I've never come across before. The scent has faded. The fragment was here recently, but it's gone now. All I can smell is lizards, reptiles. Shuri says that her sensors don't react to reptilian life before a certain size. Given their proximity to Serpent Valley, this place is crawling with lizards. If something came and didn't take vibranium, it wouldn't have triggered any of their alarms. Perhaps they should stop by one of Wakanda's other natural wonders. After reaching Serpent Valley, Wolverine guides the group on the scent of the metal and oil, and suddenly a sigh is thrown at Jones. But Wolverine deflects it. "We've got company." Suddenly, a group of ninjas jump out, and Wolverine says, "I don't know these guys." And Jones tells him that he does. They were running around Reality Zero for a little while, but they weren't riding dinosaurs. As one attacks, Shuri slashes with her spear, cutting the mask off of the attacker to reveal a reptilian face hissing back at her. Shuri pauses, asking what the hell is this, but the Imagined blasts the reptilian, telling everyone to focus. They've got a runner, they need to stop them. Spider-Man leaps up, swinging over to try and stop them, but as he gets closer, the reptilian lights a bomb, tossing it back. Spider-Man pulls back to shield everyone with his webbing, but afterwards, the only thing that is left is ruins. Shuri says that the explosion was incendiary. There's nothing left to trace. Wolverine then says that he caught a scent before it blew up. That fragment or something else, it's a weird mix of human and dinosaur. Spider-Man stands up, telling him, half human, half dinosaur. Reptile people. This is all like a neon sign pointing to my old sparring partner, Stragon the Dinosaur Man. We might as well get our bug sprays ready, because it looks like we're heading into the Savage Lands. Meanwhile, back at Reality Zero, Thor and Storm are quelling the moon's storm enough to allow Iron Man and the Foundation to land relatively close to the crash site. The scientist scans it, stating, "It's intact, more or less. Missing an arm, of course. And there are some hull breaches, but all things considered, the mech could be in worse shape. The big question is the power core. I'm not sure where it's located. We're gonna have to split up and search for it." But as Foundation checks the cockpit, he yells to everyone, "Come quick! I found the Paradigm! And she's alive!" As the Paradigm is pulled out of the cockpit of her mech, Foundation quickly charges his gauntlets and points it towards her. "How did you survive?" Paradigm sits down, telling him that it was her armor. It kept her in stasis, and the mech protected her from the worst of the weather. It's good to see him too. Foundation says that this isn't some tearful reunion. "You're a traitor. You betrayed us to the Imagined Order. Give me one good reason not to execute you where you stand." Paradigm gets up, slapping Foundation's hand, telling him that maybe because everything he just said was wrong? That because there was a giant monster coming and she was the only one who could pilot the mech? The Imagined Order was perfectly content letting anyone on the island die so that they'd have a clean slate. They only gave her a shot because they were worried the monster would pose a threat to the Zero Point. Even though she was uniquely qualified to pilot the mech because of her world's relation to technology, they still demanded that she did things their way. Because if she didn't, they'd have created a doomsday weapon to annihilate the monster and every innocent being on the island. She believed that they would do that. Scientist says, I believe her, Foundation. Wiping the island clean and starting over is exactly what we're trying to stop them from doing. Foundation scoffs. I'll take her at her word, but I'm not letting my guard down. Paradigm points to her helmet, stating that this is her surprised face. Wait, it comes to my mind that you came here looking for the mech and not me. Which, the mech itself is pretty dead. We could repair it, but it'll take forever to power it up. Iron Man tells her, yeah, don't worry about that, because right now, some of my friends are back on my world trying to get a crystallized piece of the Zero Point as we speak. But to most people's surprise, Spider-Man and his team are fighting off lizardmen ninjas in the Savage Land in search of that Zero Point fragment. As the Imagined begins to tear through the battlefield, Jones tells her to take it easy. They need at least one of them alive to question. Spider-Man webs up one, telling, hey, don't worry, I don't kill, it's my thing. Call me old-fashioned, but heroes should hold themselves to a higher standard. Wolverine slashes through one of the ninjas, stating, I never claimed to be a hero. And Shuri stabs another one. My duty is to protect Wakanda at all costs. Imagine then throws a boulder at one, crushing them. I'm just mean. After the fighting is over and one ninja is left unharmed, the team goes to interrogate them, but all they do is hiss. Spider-Man asks Jones if he speaks Lizard Ninja, and Jones tells him, yeah, I know 342,000 languages, and I'm afraid hissing lizard isn't one of them. Shuri tells him not to worry. She and Wolverine can track down the creatures to their den. Wolverine begins to carve into a Triceratops, telling them all that they're going to make camp tonight, and we're going to leave in the morning. Triceratops is actually pretty good eating. So later, after they make camp, everyone begins to dine on the Triceratops, with the Imagined looking at Wolverine asking, how old are you? I'm just shy of 200, though it ain't really common for most folks. How could you tell? She says the way he carries himself, how he doesn't waste words. And Wolverine tosses an eaten bone, telling her that he knows better than to guess a lady's age, but he figures that she's in a similar situation, older than she should be. Imagined says that she wouldn't know what her natural lifespan is. There's nothing natural about her. She and her sister were enhanced by their father in every possible way at the genetic level, before they were even born. Wolverine laughs, telling her that Daddy sounds like a fellow that I've met, named Sinister. Imagine tells him that her father's name is Geno. And Wolverine pauses. Geno? Isn't that the big bad that we're fighting? Yep, the founder and leader of the Imagined Order, formed to figure out the perfect organizational system for an ideal civilization. It just hit me. You calls yourself the Imagined and your sister is Order. And I also know what it's like to be changed. Imagined goes on stating that she doesn't mind that, but it really gets to her why it happened. She and her sister were born from privilege, making them immortal. At first they liked it, felt as though the Omniverse was their playground, but her father's obsession with perfection got the better of him. When one of his fellow members of the Order's inner circle made a bet with him, he couldn't resist. He'd sent them both into the loop, the part of Reality Zero's island where beings lose their memory and knowledge of who they are, where they're forced to fight. The bet was that she and her sister would be the first ones to break out of the loop, and how quickly. Which they did. Just they weren't the first or as fast as Geno thought. When they went back home, they were met with themselves, snapshots, duplicates of people created by the loop. They were them, just shaped more by fighting to the death than being raised as special. They weren't good enough, so their father replaced them, just like that. And she really has no idea why she's telling Wolverine any of this. Wolverine tells her, because it hurts, and I'm here. And maybe because I can tell you two things. First, your old man's a tool. Two, the way you talk about your sister, she is special to you. Both of you are to each other. You've got each other, so take comfort in that. And hey, for what it's worth, I agree with you. The next morning, Wolverine and Shuri begin to track the Lizardmen, stumbling upon a large, advanced building in the middle of the jungle. Spider-Man looks at it, telling them, okay, I'm getting a feeling that this is way bigger than Stegron. And then suddenly the team is slapped away by a giant green tail. Stegron walks forward with 3 bulked up dinosaurs. Nothing is bigger than Stegron! Then another voice tells him, yeah, you've trespassed on the domain of the High Evolutionary. I have no quarrel with you, but I do know what you seek and I will not be giving up the Zero Shard. Imagine tells him, yeah, how about that? And she jumps into the air, punching the Evolutionary in the face as he shouts, you struck me! As the Evolutionary fires an energy beam from his eyes, narrowly missing the Imagined, she grabs him by the hands to fight for control. He then tells her that she's impressive. Work with me and we could create perfect beings to survive what is coming. Imagined tells him that what is coming is that she is going to kick his ass. But while Wolverine, Shuri, and Jones hold things outside, Spider-Man sneaks into the stronghold to try and steal the Zero Shard. However, he reaches the facility's core where he finds the door has already been blown open. It's that moment that his spider sense alerts him to an energy beam that is shot out from within. Inside, Dr. Doom is holding the shard. You have my thanks for easing the path to the Zero Shard. I had neither the time nor the inclination to fight the Evolutionary for it. But while I'd enjoy crushing you all under my heel, Doom is called to greater things. But I leave you to my minions. A gateway opens up with more Lizardmen ninjas stepping out. Man, suckered by lizard ninjas. I'm never gonna live this down. Doom enters the portal. Farewell. You may rest assured that all creation is safe in Doom's hands. Yeah, that sends me chills, not safety. Back outside, the fighting stops as the Evolutionary sees that he was robbed and says that it's as he thought. Doom has used the shard to travel to Reality Zero. Jones takes out his teleportation gun, telling them all, well, that settles it. Time to fire up the portal device. Imagine looks at the Evolutionary stating that she has a personal reason to not like him, but it seems that they share a common foe and they could use his power. The Evolutionary tells her that her power is quite adequate. However, no. Without the shard, I must focus on the survival of Earth's species. I wish you the best of luck. As everyone begins to enter the portal, Stegron quietly asks, you deceived them, right? You have a plan to destroy them? But the Evolutionary tells him no. Such petty matters of revenge must now be put aside. For my brief time with the Zero Shard, what I learned was chilling indeed. Come, we must load my storehouse of genetic samples into a vessel, and I hope that I can survive what is unthinkable, yet likely inevitable. The end of not only our reality, but all realities. As the High Evolutionary's portal closes behind them, Shuri says, Ancestors! We have been to Reality Zero before. What fresh cold hell is this? Spider-Man tells her, if I had to guess, I'd say we're on the ice moon instead of the island. From the feel of things, Jones undersold the iciness. Jones tells them that from what he's heard, it's usually much worse. Their friends Thor and Storm must be suppressing the cold. Wolverine says that they need to keep moving. Doom wouldn't have come here without a reason. And I could smell molten metal that way. After a bit of walking, the 5 of them come up to a castle covered in snow. And just as they suspected, there's a path into it that was just freshly made thanks to the Antarctic vibranium that Doom holds. But inside of the castle, there are dozens of creatures and objects suspended in ice, as if they were being preserved. With Jones calling out that it's the Ice King. The Imagined Order always wondered what happened to that guy. He raised a bunch of hell on the island for a while and fought a molten lava sort of guy called the Prisoner. It all led to a giant monster getting loose. I wonder if... But before Jones could finish that sentence, he steps on a trigger in the floor and a projection of the Ice King appears. He welcomes them all to his throne and has no doubt that they have questions. Uncounted ages ago, he and his brave allies began collecting items of power, things and beings too dangerous to exist. His worst fears were realized when one of his comrades argued about using these items to alter realities to their liking, and thus he was forced to freeze him within the fortress. While fighting, another menace broke out, but thankfully it was stopped, but not by him. He had failed his duty. An unacceptable circumstance like that should never be allowed again. So he returned here and made it inhospitable to all beings. Their presence proves that they are too dangerous to remain free. And for the good of the Omniverse, they will become a part of the collection. Jones begins to wonder what's going on, but it's Wolverine who realizes things are getting a bit colder. Meanwhile, Imagined radios back to Foundation, telling him that whatever they're doing over there, they need to get the hell off of the moon. Foundation tells her that they're kind of in the middle of something, but they've rebuilt the mecha. All they need to do now is get it powered. Please tell me that you have the Zero Shard. She says that they're kind of working on that, but the point is they need to get everyone off of the moon as soon as possible. If they succeed, they'll be right behind them in the mech. At that moment, Wolverine grabs Imagined and pulls her out of the way of an energy blast as everyone gets into their fighting stances. Across the room, Doom says that it's all rather amusing. Like beheaded chickens that do not yet know that they are dead. Realizing that Doom is using the Ice King's arsenal, Wolverine hacks through the pillar of ice so that Jones can grab a rifle to defend himself. Except he has no idea how to even fire the weapon. Shuri saves Jones from another blast, and together with Imagined, the 2 women destroy Doom's weapons just as Spider-Man webs up his shield, ripping it off. Enough! I've no time to humble you as you deserve. I will use the power of creation itself to destroy you, Doom calls out. Using the Zero Shard, he begins to break apart all of the pillars, taking their weapons and quickly turning them against the heroes. Shuri then holds out a device stating to defeat Doom, her brother once used this technology to render all processed vibranium inert. That it should also have an effect on the Antarctic vibranium within the Zero Shard. She presses the button and the Zero Shard reacts by shocking Doom, and Shuri tells Spider-Man to grab it and get to the mech. Spider-Man webs it up, telling her that he's on it. Hopefully he doesn't freeze to death getting there. Once Doom recomposes himself, he picks up another weapon, firing it, yelling, "You have already lost! Spider-Man will die in that storm within minutes!" With no other choice, the remaining heroes charge at Doom to try and stop him. But even without the Zero Shard, Doom proves to be too much of a foe for them to stop. Everyone lies on the ground, broken, and Doom holds up the cannon, telling them that it ends as it must. The last thing that they're going to feel is the sting of failure. Just then there's a rumble as a giant mecha hand crashes through, reaching out. And in that mecha head, Paradigm says that she's guessing that is Doom. Spider-Man says, yeah, the name does fit. Doom fires at the hand to keep it at bay. I've wasted too much time here. The final battle will occur on the island. We will meet there again soon. He escapes with Imagined asking if that's Paradigm in the mech. She thought that she was dead and a traitor. But Paradigm says that she covered all of that with Foundation. If she doesn't want to ride the mech with her, then she can hop on his ship. But either way, they're heading back to the island one way or another. The Zero War is about to end. Later, back on the island, Foundation radios to Paradigm, telling her that they are seeing alarming movements from the Imagined Order. They're ceding strategic points to them and pulling back to their central positions. They'd only do that if they were preparing to evacuate the island, which means that their doomsday weapon is due for completion ahead of schedule. What's your status? She tells them that they're ready to launch in just a few moments and she'll be there shortly. Jones asks if she's ready, because he's ready. He's readier than ready. He's like overly prepared. Foundation tells him that she'll be fine. Are the others ready? I know the moon's environment took a lot out of them. Jones motions behind him, telling him that he's glad that he asked. You want to see fighting shape? That is fighting shape. Donning the Reality Zero tech, Spider-Man leaps in. Oh yeah, it's me, your friendly Omniverse Spider-Man. Anyone want to see my back bling? Iron Man flies in, telling him that he's got to hand it to them. Some of this tech, well, it's no Hulkbuster, but this stuff defies the laws of physics. Foundation tells them that none of that tech leaves the island, so enjoy it while you can. While everyone gets ready for the final battle, Imagine's sister, Order, joins the preparations when suddenly Scientist notices a wounded manfish walking towards them. Scientist runs over yelling, "Fish sticks!" And the man says, "Actually, it's triggerfish. I came because our unit got wiped out, but I got the intel. Take it. Avenge me." Scientist takes the drive, telling him, "Don't worry, they'll fix him up." But Triggerfish tells him that there is no fixing him up. Just don't let them do this to any more fish sticks. Or anyone. Their weapon, codenamed the Collider, will reach critical mass sooner than expected. And if you all don't stomp it, all life on the island will get wiped out. Our only hope is to act now. And the news gets worse. Their weapon incorporates the Zero Point. They're using creation energy to destroy everything. Foundation says that the good news is that they've confirmed the location of the Collider. It's on the top of the tower. They've got shields protecting the area, and those shields need to come down. The Paradigm is launching her mech. They need all shields disabled by the time that she arrives. Iron Man turns to Thor and Storm, telling them that they did a lot back on the moon. If you need to sit this one out. But both Storm and Thor tell him that they're fine. They fight for Earth, for Reality Zero, for the Omniverse stock! Moments later, the assault begins, and just as things are looking grim, Paradigm arrives to give them a helping hand. She tells them that she'll handle things here. They need to hurry inside and focus on getting those shields down. Jones runs off to the last generator, blasting it with Scientists, stating that they've eliminated the last of them. The Collider's exposed. Paradigm jets over to the massive weapon, powering up her sword, getting ready to strike. But before she can, the ground around the Collider gives way, and the mech falls into their trap. Everyone rushes over to check on her, but she tells them that she'll be fine, she just needs to make repairs. They gotta keep going. So Foundation tells everyone to attack the tower. He doesn't care how. If the Zero Point touches the crystals at the top, everything ends. Iron Man is the first to flying in, but before Foundation can tell him to wait, the tower shocks Iron Man, turning his new suit into nothing more than a human-sized paperweight. He tells everyone that he can't feel the armor, but he's alive. Go. Be careful. Whatever's up there, we're talking Thanos levels of power. Imagine looks up and tells them that she can tell who it is, and radios to Order that Daddy just got home. Seconds later, Order lands beside her, asking where, and Imagine points up. Wolverine says that Iron Man tried, but he got blasted out of the sky. So Imagine picks him up and begins to fly up there. He tried a frontal attack, did what you'd expect. Now, brace yourself. As the three crash through the floor, Order yells to Geno that he is done running from them, and he tells her that he never ran from his daughters, he only tried to help them. But at some point, children have to face the consequences of their decisions. Geno grabs Order, lifting her up, telling her that this is ridiculous. She is still his blood. Just ask, and I'll let you live. I'll send you somewhere safe. She struggles, telling him that she has a better idea. What about they send him everywhere? And she kicks Geno hard enough to send them all over the ledge. As they hover over the Zero Point, Geno shouts, "Are you mad? If we hit the Zero Point, it'll tear us apart and scatter our bodies throughout the Omniverse." Order says that she's okay with that, and Wolverine asks Imagine if she's sure about it. She tells him completely. The sisters begin their attack. Wolverine locks himself against the wall, holding on to Order as the two blast themselves, causing Imagine and Geno to fall. Order screams out, reaching for Imagine, asking why. And Wolverine says that this is because this is what she wanted. Imagine made him promise that if someone had to do it, it would be her. She wanted to give her a chance at a good life. She wanted Order to be happy. And Order yells, "No, you idiot, you don't understand! It didn't work!" The two go look over the edge to see Geno's face, telling them, "Enough, I've had enough of this! I will wipe out all these failures from existence." Foundation fights his way through and sees Geno holding Imagine, telling him, "It's over." And Geno ignores him, telling Imagine that this isn't what he wanted for her. He wanted her free, but she could never do the same for herself. Foundation charges his blaster, yelling to get away from her, but as both Imagine and Geno destabilize, he tells him that if there's anything that he could have done for him, he would have. He's afraid the best that he could do was just slow the process down. Jones asks what is happening, and Foundation explains that they are discorporating at a molecular level, being scattered throughout the Omniverse. Don't let your guard down, though. Geno's still dangerous. Can't you just accept that you've won, Foundation? You spoiled my plans, which, incidentally, were to protect and perfect every reality in the Omniverse. There's no point in arguing who the hero is. You always believed that my methods were abhorrent, that you knew better than me. Well, congratulations, now you get to prove it. I genuinely hope that you were right, because if you fail, it means the end of everything. Foundation tells him to explain, but Geno tells him there's no time. You're gonna find out soon enough. Master the 0 point in any way that you can. I know that you believe that my subjugating was obscene, immoral, but maybe you can sing lullabies to it. Though I have to admit, selfishly, that it's good to lay my burden down after all this time. It'll be nice to rest. And with that, some time passed as Thor and scientists worked together to connect the 0 point to the Bifrost, which allowed people to be returned to their homes. As they watch, Iron Man turns to Foundation, telling him that they're armor bros now. And Foundation says, "We are definitely not armor bros. Now please go home." But across realities, pieces of imagined Genos begin to form. However, in Genos' case, more and more pieces of him begin to appear and put themselves back together to recreate him. And there you have it. Now, out of all the Fortnite crossovers, this is probably my least favorite. It leaned very heavily onto characters and lore that exist within the Fortnite universe, which I'm able to follow along with because I've constantly been playing the game. But if you're not really caught up on the Fortnite lore, a lot of this really was just Wolverine and Spider-Man are hanging out with Fortnite characters. But when you compare that to the storylines where like Batman got stuck in the loop, or even the first Marvel crossover where Thor was trying to battle against Galactus, this just felt like it was made to cater to the Fortnite side, which isn't a terrible thing, just not what I was expecting. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Did you enjoy this crossover? Do you like Fortnite? Do you like what's going on over there? Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when our next videos are coming out, and I'll talk to you guys next time right here.